1980, The White Book by Makaveli, Episode 11, Surprise. 1980, Surprise, October Surprise. This is the October Surprise chapter. We've been through exactly 100 pages thus far. Chapter 1980 begins on page 101. The chapter being named Surprise made me think of NWA's Surprise Part 2 on the 100 Miles and Running album. This is Surprise Part 2 is F the Police Part 2. It also made me think of the October Surprise. And if you've read the book this far, read the lyrics to NWA's Surprise Part 2, and you'll see how the storyline of that song is directly related to this book. It's uncanny. Characters: Mama Niece, Biggie's maternal grandmother. Olin, Biggie's paternal grandfather. Colleen, Paul's wife, one of the church's older secretaries. Lennox, Colleen's younger brother. Spartacus is Aloysius's code name. Imamaya is Benjamin's code name. Cheris and Danny, Brooklyn, 1972. This section is about Paul's personality traits and his history. It explores the different kind of love that Paul and Gaia have for each other, and how they're drifting apart and their large age difference. Mama Niece suggests that maybe it's time they, Paul and Gaia, break up. Paul moves back to Jamaica and takes over the church from his ailing father. Olin, his father, trains Paul until his death in 1976. Paul gets engaged to be married in 1977 to Colleen, and then he informs Gaia. The truth. There's a great paragraph about the truth. It's a beautiful narration monologue that needs to be shared here. Something about the truth, when it's spoken clearly, there's really nothing more that need be said. Most people can't handle it. They'll do anything not to hear it. Some will cut you off when they hear it coming. Others will literally run from it. Funny thing about that, though, if they didn't already know it, how would they know when to start running? The eloquence of the Mama Niece and Paul scene. As much as you think you could care less about reading it because it's not about the stars of the show or conspiracy lore, it is so beautifully written that I envision the entire conversation as if I was sitting in the front row of a movie theater, or as if I was behind the camera as each of the characters observing the other character as they spoke. I felt the warmth of the characters interacting, their emotions permeating through their skin, and the relief of acknowledging reality and saying the words that needed to be said aloud so that life can go on and people can move on. It foreshadows why Paul marries Colleen in the future. And I say that because the vibe between Mama Niece and Paul, since they're more closer to the same age group, they're able to relate a lot better than Paul and Gaia. And you think of the song, I'm in love with a man nearly twice my age. I don't know what it is. Kingston, Jamaica. Gaia goes to visit Paul and Colleen with Biggie. Biggie sees his father for the first time in 3 years. It shows their interactions and explains how Jamaica has taken a turn for the worst when Edward Siega had taken office, and how in the United States that Rastas were getting arrested for having ganja and the secret police were stealing their crops. Cops come and try to snatch my crops, these pigs wanna blow my house down. This caused people to stop selling ganja and start selling and using cocaine. Paul and those on his property have religious immunity, and they can smoke ganja. Rastafari and Christianity. They are very similar except for these two stark differences. Rastafarian think Jesus was black, and smoking ganja should be legal, and infringing on such should be considered Babylonian. The king's magician's spell. Rasta Elders know the secret of the 33rd degree Masons. They know through the occult teachings of master builder Hiram Abiff. When constructing Solomon's temple, he renounced the Almighty in favor of a union between himself and the evil Semitic gods Baal and Thoth. Solomon ended his days surrounded by he-goats. Because of this, Masons were banned by Pope Clement XIV in 1773. Rastas believe the High Masons had already corrupted the Vatican by this time. A purge of those that knew too much was taking place. July 7, 1977, Jamaicans stayed locked in their homes. 1977 was considered to be bad luck by the learned Rastas due to St. John the Divine's apocalyptic revelations of coinciding events. In Brazil, they believe the entire month of August is cursed. They believe it is the month the devil deals the cards, and they call it the month of sorrow and grief. Olin feels the curse has been lifted as Paul joins the church. When the curse was broken in 1976, the bicentennial, the bad year for Jamaica followed in 1977. Who do you believe in? Throughout conspiracy lore, it's always one side versus another, whether it's the Catholics versus the Freemasons, the Jesuits against whoever they're against, Palestinians versus Israel. We're told the Freemasons are the bad guys, which would imply the Catholics are the good guys, right? But at the same time, we're told that the Founding Fathers were Freemason, and they're the good guys. We also know the history of knowledge suppression and control by the Catholics. We know about Galileo getting his eyes cut out. Who are the good guys? Whose side do you side with? The Catholic Church and the Rastas and hip-hop? Or the Freemasons, New World Order, and free knowledge? Who is worse? Which one condemned knowledge? Which one cherished knowledge? Is it better to think of yourself as godlike or only a servant? I'm so torn. I don't know who's the right and who's wrong. Bob Marley. The men in black shot Rita Marley in the head and grazed the chest of Bob Marley and hit him in the arm. 8 shots fired at him. Bob Marley still performed at the Smile Jamaica Fest a few days after being shot. The once strong and vibrant Rasta whose faith in Jah shielded him from the shadows and begun to feel their presence. There is suspicion that Bob Marley was poisoned, that he did not get cancer from smoking ganja. The news reported that it was robbers that shot up Bob Marley's place, but others think it was the CIA. His illness can be traced to a visit he received right after the assassination attempt. Carl Kobe brought Bob Marley a pair of new boots, and when Marley tried them on and was pricked, he became sick soon after and was diagnosed with cancer. Why would the CIA care about a reggae singer? The entertainer of today is the politician of tomorrow. Look at Ronald Reagan. Entertainers capture the hearts and the minds of the people. The Rat Pack, Sinatra, and Sammy Davis Jr. could say a few words and change public opinion, especially the youth. So the agency told Bob Marley that they would kill him if he comes home before the election. Edward Siega is the CIA's man in Jamaica, and he won in a rigged election. Cultural and conspiratorial references. Bob Marley and the Wailers, Peter Tosh, CIA destabilization, JLP, the movement, Carl Kobe, son of the former CIA director, William E. Colby, former CIA director, MK Ultra, mind control, MK Search, mind control, hallucinogenic drugs, STP, PCP, LSD, MDMA, created in government-owned and funded labs. G13, the government strain of hydroponic marijuana. The Agency, Charles Manson. Emperor Haile Selassie, Ethiopia. Today, Haile Selassie is worshipped as God incarnate among followers of the Rastafari movement, which emerged in Jamaica during the 1930s under the influence of Marcus Garvey's Pan-Africanism movement. He is viewed as the Messiah who will lead the peoples of Africa and the African diaspora to freedom. His official titles are Conquering the Lion of the Tribe of Judah and King of Kings and Elect of God, the Lion King, and his traditional lineage is thought to be from Solomon and Sheba. These notions are perceived by Rastafari as confirmation of the return of the Messiah in the prophetic book of Revelation in the New Testament. King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, and Root of David. Rastafari faith in the incarnate divinity of Haile Selassie began after news reports of his coronation reached Jamaica, particularly via the Time magazine articles on the coronation the week before and the week after the event. Haile Selassie's own perspectives permeate the philosophy of the movement. So reading about Haile Selassie made me think of the D.O.C. because they called Selassie the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. And when I was a kid, I had the D.O.C. album, and there was like a statue on the front cover of the album that said King of Kings, Lord of Lords. And his first single on the album was It's Funky Enough, and it was kind of like a reggae song. And I remember he said, Rasta, and not on my phone. Dre makes the beat so funky. It's getting funky, it's getting funky. So I don't know how the D.O.C. plays into this, but if you think about it, he was hailed as the greatest lyricist of all time. And he was like the most upcoming artist, and then he got in a car accident, and it sounded like a severe car accident, and the only thing that happened to him was his larynx voice box was damaged. So it was like a divine hand took away from him his one gift to the world. It's really freaky. And then like his second album was called Helter Skelter, and his voice was all spooky, and there was imagery on that. And then he came out with a third album, and he still had the King of Kings, Lord of Lords statue. So I don't know how that whole phrase and saying plays into Rastafari, but this D.O.C., and consider also that the D.O.C. was part of NWA and the Posse. And you know, earlier in the chapter, I referenced 100 Miles and Running and the Surprise song, and how that the lyrics to that directly relates to this whole book. And then you got the D.O.C., who was also on Ruthless Records, and here he is with this statue here. How does this album play into the things, and how does the D.O.C. play in being hailed as the greatest lyricist ever, the biggest tragedy in hip-hop? I don't know, but it's always been a mystery to me. And the continued fanfare of the D.O.C. has always stood out to me as something mysterious. I agree. I think the D.O.C. was fantastic. He's great. He helped make The Chronic. I had the No One Can Do It Better album, and it was one of my favorite albums as a kid. But I still liked Eazy-E and MC Ren and Dr. Dre and Ice Cube better. But the D.O.C. was pretty good. And how he fits in, I don't know. Excerpts. Excerpt 16, unknown. Excerpt 17, I assume, is Bob Marley's Revelations. Excerpt 18, unknown. Excerpt 19, a source close to Marley and in the house that night's statement. So if you know the excerpts for 16, 17, 18, and 19, please post links below. If that's even a legit thing to do. I heard some of these excerpts are for members only, so I don't know. Paris, France. Aloysius and Benjamin meet and discuss the October surprise. At least we could assume they're discussing the October surprise. It's not specifically stated that that's what they're doing. It states that Jimmy Carter cut 800 operatives and is one of the reasons the hostages are in Iran. Terms: COS, Top Secret, Langley, Starcom, Statcom, Project Takeover, Good Shepherds, 40 million members of King George's Cavalry, SDECE, France's intelligence agency, Council on Foreign Relations, right-wing Republicans, Nelson Rockefeller, FUBAR, Generation X, Mariel Harbor, Fidel Castro, Miami, Nancy Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Le Obelisk. Le Arc is a warning more than a tribute. Do not betray us. Chief of Station, Yeoman, 007's G2, ACIS, Operation Phoenix, Jimmy Carter, 2XL Computer, Barbara Walters, Dick Cheney, Barry Goldwater, the Corona, to strict observance. Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency. Savak, Iran's intelligence agency. CIA, United States intelligence agency. The Alibi Club. Champs Elysees. Arc de Triomphe. The Pillars of l'Arc. Napoleon Bonaparte. The Eternal Flame of the Unknown Soldier. The Bronx. A few weeks later, Afeni watches election results and the release of the hostages held in Iran. Ronald Reagan was the 39th president, a B-list movie actor. He defeated Jimmy Carter. Ronald Reagan beat George H.W. Bush in the primary. When there were talks of Gerald Ford being a co-president running mate, Reagan quickly chose Bush, someone he publicly expressed dislike for. Bush had a secret army of fired intelligence officers who had a grudge against Jimmy Carter. Reagan said, "I am not frightened by what lies ahead, and I don't think the American people are frightened by what lies ahead." Iran hostage crisis. 52 Americans held captive in Iran since November 4th, 1979. Hostages freed after Reagan's acceptance speech 1 year to the day that they were captured. October surprise. In 25 years, numerous people who have been connected to or investigated the October surprise have died under suspicious circumstances. Official investigations have found no evidence of wrongdoing. 1980. The blizzard of 1979 left Chicago covered in a blanket of white snow. March 1980. Fidel Castro opened Mariel Harbor and flooded Miami with a sea of brown-skinned Cuban refugees searching for the American dream. A tsunami hit Los Angeles and beyond, prompting residents to scream for disaster relief. Were these events all interconnected? See you in 1981. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe, share, tweet. I'm on Twitter at Jonathan Lippy. I'm on Facebook at Jonathan Lippy. Check out Northern Lights Nation's new album, Filth, and The Diary of Santa Marta. My book is Simulation Theory. My album is Mind Over Matrix. My DVD is Confessions of a Made Man. You can find these all on Amazon. Truth About 2Pac, the White Book Forum, and the 2Pac channel are excellent sources for 2Pac discussion. Links for purchasing the White Book are in the description below. I'll see you in 1981.